It hurts so much. I think something's wrong.
Stay calm, I'm here to help. Let me check.
Please, you have to help me. It's urgent.
The conference room doors hadn't even finished closing when the words hit the air like a gunshot. "Please, just make it fast," the CEO said, voice flat, eyes already drifting back to his phone. "I've got a hard stop in 8 minutes. 8 minutes. That was all the time Marcus Reed had to convince the most powerful man in American healthcare that his little girl was worth saving. Marcus stood at the far end of the polished mahogany table, the only person in the room still wearing a coat because he'd come straight from dropping Mia off at preschool. The other 15 executives were in tailored suits that cost more than his monthly mortgage. He was in the same navy blazer he'd worn to his wife's funeral 2 years ago, the one with the tiny jam stain on the inside cuff that no dry cleaner had ever managed to remove. He was 34, widowed, and the lead engineer on a heart pump the size of a AA battery that could keep a 6-year-old alive until a transplant came through. A heart pump the board was about to kill. Marcus took one slow breath, reached up, and slipped the blazer off his shoulders. The room went quieter than quiet. He laid the jacket on the table like he was laying down a royal flush. Then he rolled up his left sleeve. The scar ran from wrist to elbow, thick and pale, a lightning bolt frozen in skin. Every pair of eyes locked on it. "This," Marcus said, voice low but steady, "is what a 6-year-old did to me last night when the nightmares came back." He rolled the right sleeve. Another scar, fresher, still pink. "This one's from Tuesday. She thinks if she holds on tight enough, the monsters can't take me the way they took her mom." He unbuttoned his shirt collar, pulled it aside just enough to show the port embedded in his chest, the one they'd put in when his own heart tried to quit on him 18 months ago. "And this," he said, tapping the circular scar, "is the old model. The one your company stopped supporting 3 years ago because the profit margin wasn't compelling enough. I was 32. I got lucky. A transplant came through." He looked straight at the CEO, Robert Harrington III, the man who golfed with senators and had never waited for anything in his life. "My daughter won't be that lucky. Her name's Mia. She has hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. The waitlist for a pediatric heart in her blood type is 21 months minimum. She has maybe 9 before her heart gives out completely." He reached into the inside pocket of the blazer and pulled out a single photograph. He didn't hand it to anyone. He simply turned it around so the table could see. Mia, gap-toothed grin, curls exploding out of 2 uneven pigtails he'd attempted that morning, holding a hand-drawn card that read "Daddy is my hero" in purple marker. "She starts kindergarten in 3 weeks, Marcus said. "She's never spent a night in the hospital without me sleeping in the chair beside her bed. She still thinks daddies can fix anything with duct tape and kisses." A few throats cleared. Someone shifted in a leather seat. Marcus laid the photo on the table and finally sat down. "I'm not here to beg," he said. "I'm here to tell you what happens if you cancel Project Aurora today." He clicked the remote. The screen behind him lit up with a simple slide. One number. 4,117. That's how many kids under 10 are waiting for hearts in the United States right now. Your analysts say the miniature ventricular assist device isn't profitable enough to justify production. They're right, if you only look at the spreadsheet. He clicked again. A new slide. A cost breakdown. But if you kill Aurora, every single one of those kids will need a Berlin heart instead. The one that requires open chest surgery, a 6-week hospital stay, and costs the system $480,000 per patient. Aurora costs $92,000 fully loaded, can be implanted minimally invasively, and lets a kid go home. Do the math over 5 years. He didn't wait for them to do it. He clicked. The next slide showed the final number in bold red. Savings to the healthcare system, $1.9 billion. A ripple went through the room. The CFO actually looked up from her laptop. Marcus kept going. "But forget the money for a second. Because money didn't hold my wife's hand when the ambulance came. Money didn't explain to a 4-year-old why mommy was sleeping and never waking up. Money isn't going to explain to Mia why her heart is tired when she just wants to ride a bike like the other kids." His voice cracked on the last word. He didn't try to hide it. He reached into the blazer one more time and pulled out a tiny pink sock with cartoon dinosaurs on it. "She wore these yesterday," he said. "When the cardiologist told us the latest echo showed worsening fibrosis. She asked me if her heart was broken like Humpty Dumpty. I didn't have an answer. He set the sock on top of the photograph. Then he looked at Harrington again. 8 minutes, you said. I only need one. He clicked to the final slide. It was blank except for 6 words in black. What kind of man are you? Silence stretched so long you could hear the hum of the HVAC. Harrington stared at the screen. Then at the sock. Then at the scars on Marcus's arms. Finally, he spoke, voice rougher than before. You said the prototype works. It works, Marcus answered. We've run it in 16 juvenile porcine models. 0 thrombotic events. Battery life 91 days. We're ready for first in human. We just need the green light to finish the FDA submission package. The CEO leaned back, looked at the CFO. She gave the smallest nod. Harrington exhaled through his nose. Get the paperwork on my desk by Monday, he said. We're not killing Aurora. We're fast-tracking it. Marcus didn't move. He wasn't sure he'd heard right. Harrington stood up, the meeting apparently over in his mind. But before he reached the door, he paused. Mr. Reed. Marcus looked up. Your daughter, Mia. When this thing gets approved, she jumps to the front of the line for the first clinical trial slot. Tell her we're going to fix her heart. Marcus couldn't speak. He managed a nod. Harrington left. The room emptied fast after that, executives avoiding eye contact, some dabbing at their eyes, others pretending they weren't. Marcus stayed seated. He gathered the photo, the sock, the blazer that suddenly felt 10 pounds lighter. He was halfway down the hallway when he heard running footsteps behind him. Reed. It was Dr. Elena Vasquez, the chief medical officer, the one who'd fought for Aurora in every meeting and lost every time. She caught up, breathless. That was the bravest thing I've ever seen in 22 years here, she said. You just saved 4,000 kids. Maybe more. Marcus shook his head. No, I just bought my little girl some time. Elena smiled, eyes shining. Then let's not waste it. 6 months later. Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, 3:14 a.m. Marcus sat in the darkened PICU room, the only light coming from the monitors painting soft green waves across Mia's sleeping face. She was hooked to a dozen lines, but for the first time in years, her color was pink instead of gray. The Aurora pump, production model 001, hummed quietly beneath the sterile dressing on her chest, no bigger than a matchbox, keeping her alive with the steady whisper of engineering and love. He held her hand, careful not to jostle the IV. Daddy. Her voice was groggy from anesthesia, but it was there. I'm here, baby. Did they fix my heart? He leaned over, kissed her forehead. They gave it a superhero sidekick. The best one in the world. She smiled, eyes still closed. Does it have a name? Marcus thought of the conference room. Of the scars. Of the tiny dinosaur sock now framed on his desk at home. Yeah, he whispered. It's called Hope. Outside the window, dawn was just beginning to bruise the sky purple and gold. Marcus rested his head on the bed rail, still holding her hand, and for the first time in 2 years he let himself cry. Quiet, grateful tears that soaked into the blanket where no one but God and a 6-year-old superhero could see them. Sometimes the longest 8 minutes of your life are the only ones that matter. And sometimes all it takes to change everything is a father willing to take off his jacket and show the world his scars. Because love doesn't look at profit margins. Love looks at a little girl's heartbeat and says, not on my watch. And that, my friends, is the most powerful force on earth.